Buddha, the master scientist, greater than Einstein. Scientists dream of reaching Mars, an extremely challenging endeavor. But Buddha, with just one thought, could travel anywhere within the three realms, which are even vaster than the universe as they include both the form realm and the formless realm, while the universe is only a small part of the desire realm, specifically the visible part of the desire realm. Thus, Buddha is also known as Tathagata. The meaning of Tathagata is coming from nowhere and going nowhere, thus called Tathagata, from the Diamond Sutra. This denotes omniscient wisdom, existing everywhere in space and time, knowing precisely everything. Many people readily regard the German-born Jewish scientist Albert Einstein as the greatest scientist of the 20th century and perhaps the greatest scientist of all time for his development of the special theory of relativity in 1905 and the general theory of relativity in 1916. Which revolutionized humanity's understanding of science, overturning previously immutable concepts such as space, time, and mass. Personally, I might nominate Einstein as the greatest scientist of the 20th century, but I hesitate to label him the greatest of all time because there is another historical figure more deserving of this title, Siddhartha Gautama, the founder of Buddhism, born in Kapilavastu in what is now Nepal. Many might be surprised, as Buddha was not a scientist, and Buddhism does not establish truths in the same way. How can one compare his teachings with Einstein's theories? Indeed, before his parinirvana, Buddha refuted all his teachings, saying, "For the past 49 years, I have not spoken a single word." Thus, comparing Buddha with Einstein seems absurd. However, in the relative world of ignorance, Buddha taught many sutras, and I will use these provisional teachings to compare the scientific aspects of these two great historical figures, hoping that readers may find some intriguing and beneficial insights about the world. 1. Understanding the world. With the special theory of relativity, Einstein proposed that space, time, and mass are not immutable as per Newton's theory. He discovered that time is the fourth inseparable dimension of space. Thus, space and time should be referred to collectively as space-time, a continuous entity. He also found that light is the fastest traveling substance in a vacuum, and applied this in the world's most famous formula, demonstrating the equivalence of mass and energy. Yili equals ImC2. E is energy, m is mass, and c is the speed of light. The theory of relativity is considered a sophisticated theory understood by few, yet even with it, Einstein did not fully comprehend the nature of space-time and mass. Hence, when faced with the phenomenon of quantum entanglement, he could not understand it. During his lifetime, Einstein did not understand or know why a photon could appear simultaneously in two or more places, and when a photon at one location was affected, the photon at another location was similarly affected instantly, regardless of the distance. He called this spooky action at a distance. If signals were transmitted, the speed would have to be millions of times faster than light, which contradicts Einstein's own postulate that light is the fastest in the material world, with no object traveling faster. Light travels in a vacuum at a constant speed of approximately 300,000 kilometers per second without initial velocity, as light has no mass and thus no inertia. Recently, it has been discovered that neutrinos travel faster than light, 306,000 kilometers per second. If confirmed, this would indicate a slight error in Einstein's theory, yet not enough to change fundamental perceptions, merely suggesting that humans might be able to travel back in time to observe the past, traveling at the speed of neutrinos 306,000 kilometers per second compared to light's 299,792.5 meters per second, thus catching up to light and observing the past. Did Buddha understand quantum entanglement? During Buddha's time, no one knew of this phenomenon, but through the teachings in the Sutras, we can affirm that Buddha knew and had clear answers for it. In the Lotus Sutra, Buddha often emits radiant light to show the assembly of monks, nuns, laymen, and laywomen, the countless worlds, indicating space, from the past to the future, indicating time, and innumerable beings in the 10 directions, indicating number. Buddha possessed all divine powers, 6 superpowers. The Abhidharma Kosha, often abbreviated as kosher, describes these 6 superpowers. The 6 superpowers: 1. Riddhi Visaya Jnana, the power to transform one's body as desired, to fly in the air, walk on water, enter mountains, etc., all actions follow the mind without obstruction. 2. Divine eye, divya kaksujnana, the power to see all forms near or far in the world and to see the happiness and suffering of beings in the 6 realms of samsara. 3. Divine ear, divya shrotrajnana, the power to hear and understand all sounds and languages of beings in the 6 realms of samsara. 4. Mind reading, parasiddhajnana, the power to know all thoughts in the minds of beings in the 6 realms. 5. Remembrance of past lives, purvanivas anusmartijnana, the power to remember past lives of oneself and others in the 6 realms, from one life to many thousands of lives, knowing clearly where they were born, who their parents were, their names, and their actions. 6. Extinction of defilements, asravaksayanana, the power to eliminate all defilements, wrong views and desires in the 3 realms, thus attaining complete liberation. Thanks to these superpowers, without any technological devices, Buddha could see through the 3 realms, from the tiniest particles like photons, neutrinos, and subatomic particles like quarks and electrons, to the cosmic bodies in the great Trichilya cosm. Buddha knew they were merely illusory particles and referred to them as floating flowers in the void. The Lotus Sutra clearly states that in the 10 directions, countless Buddhas like Sakyamuni are simultaneously teaching the Dharma. This demonstrates Buddha's understanding of quantum entanglement, the phenomenon where a photon can appear simultaneously in multiple locations. Buddha also knew that space, time, and number are not real, existing only in the mind. Hence, a photon at one position being affected simultaneously affects the photon at another position instantly, without signal transmission through space. Einstein referred to this as spooky action at a distance, because he did not understand that space-time and number are unreal. Is there evidence that Buddha knew space-time and number are unreal? Number is the count of myriad things, of material forms. No form is real. Matter has no substance, as explained clearly in the Heart Sutra. Therefore, Sariputra, form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, formations, and consciousness. To the unified field theory, Einstein spent the last 30 years of his life researching a theory that could explain everything. Theory of everything TOE, which he called the unified field theory. He aimed to unify relativity theory and quantum mechanics, but ultimately failed, passing away in 1955 without resolving the issue. Buddha, living over 2,500 years before Einstein, predicted Einstein's and like-minded individuals' failure, stating that TOE is impossible. Buddha provided an example with the story of the blind men and the elephant in the Nirvana Sutra. A king asked his minister to bring an elephant for the blind men to examine. The blind men touched the elephant. The king asked them, "What does an elephant look like?" The one who touched the tusk said it was like a radish. The one who touched the ear said it was like a fan. The one who touched the leg said it was like a pillar. The one who touched the back said it was like a bed. The one who touched the belly said it was like a pot. The one who touched the tail said it was like a rope. The king symbolizes the omniscient knowledge of the Tathagata, perfect knowledge. The minister symbolizes the Nirvana Sutra. The elephant symbolizes the Buddha nature. The blind men symbolize all ignorant beings. The blind cannot know the whole, only parts. Who are the blind? They are politicians, philosophers, scientists, businessmen, artists, and the common folk. Essentially, all beings with their brain-based knowledge can never attain total knowledge. Buddha told the story of the blind men and the elephant to illustrate that the rational mind is limited and cannot comprehend the whole, as its understanding is based on ignorance. Human philosophy and science, built on ignorance, do not recognize that the essence of the world is emptiness, devoid of meaning. Ultimate understanding leads to contradictions in illogic, making theories incomprehensible and unacceptable. This was expressed and proven by mathematician Kurt Gödel in the incompleteness theorems published in 1931. These theorems consist of 2 parts. Theorem 1. If a theory is based on a consistent set of axioms, within that theory there always exist propositions that can neither be proven nor disproven. Theorem 2. There is no method to prove the consistency of a system of axioms. The philosophical significance of the incompleteness theorems is that there are always contradictions in any rational system. Matter has no substance. The void, which means nothing, can create the universe and everything in it. Quarks and electrons are mere virtual particles, yet they create the myriad forms of the world, including intelligent humans who can think abstractly and invent all sorts of devices, but cannot know the whole. Contradictory pairs are essentially one but not one. The Heart Sutra also states clearly, form is not different from emptiness, and emptiness is not different from form. Form is exactly emptiness, and emptiness is exactly form. Our reason knows that houses, cars, and our five aggregates are illusory, but every day we still need to eat, drink, dress, live, and use houses and cars. There can be no theory to unify these contradictions. Reason is powerless. Einstein gave up, but Buddha did not. The brain cannot solve the problem, but without using the brain, it can be solved with unimaginable results. Birth and death are natural laws. Everyone thinks so and believes no one can escape them. But Buddha realized there is no birth and death and escaped samsara. Buddha did not seek a Toei because he knew it was an illusion, like a mirage in the void. However, to save beings from suffering, Buddha presented expedient means such as the Four Noble Truths, speaking of suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path to cessation, gradually leading ignorant beings to enlightenment. Another expedient means is the 12 links of dependent origination, explaining the origin of all phenomena and beings. These theories and many other sutras are merely temporary means. In the Heart Sutra, Buddha clearly stated that in reality, nothing exists. All phenomena are transformations of the mind, similar to the images, sounds, writings, and videos on a screen being illusions, yet we see them as real. In daily life, the illusion is of a much higher level, as we can touch, smell, and taste, and there is digestion, growth, and transformation, making beings unaware that it is all illusory. Only the enlightened, those who see their true nature and become Buddhas, realize that everything is illusion, like dreaming during the day. Space, time, numbers, people, and objects are not real. Therefore, in the story of the blind men and the elephant, Buddha bluntly said that the blind men symbolize all ignorant beings, including scientists who use their intellect to analyze and synthesize but can never know the whole. 3. How to build peace and happiness in the world. Most of us wish for world peace, prosperity, and happiness, but cannot find a way to achieve it. The world is always unstable, with frequent natural disasters and violence. Powerful countries always bully weaker ones, trying to establish world order according to their preferences. Oppression, injustice, corruption, and coercion are always present, varying only in degree. First, let's talk about natural disasters. Science, with its limited capabilities, cannot overcome natural disasters. Earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, storms, and volcanoes, all these exceed scientific capacity. Buddhism states the 3 realms are only mind, all phenomena are only consciousness. Can humans derive better understanding and conduct from Buddhism? The world is created by the mind. Human consciousness with bad habits like violence, aggression, and killing obviously affects world peace, as everyone can see. Few understand that natural disasters are also mind-created. Nothing is naturally existent. The material world, the solar system, the sun, and planets are illusory structures. Hence, leading scientists upon developing quantum mechanics sensed a crisis in physics, realizing that matter lacks substance, as articulated by Niels Bohr, John von Neumann, Eugene Wigner, Werner Heisenberg, Stephen Hawking, and Thomas Kuhn. Buddhism calls the illusory structure of matter beginningless ignorance. Zen refers to it as the head of speech. The mind is the synthesis of the 4 fundamental forces of the material world: gravitational force, electromagnetic force, strong interaction, and weak interaction. Since matter is an illusory structure, the mind can change it. Enlightened beings with superpowers can do this. For example, Huineng, Hanshan, and Dantian changed their bodies' structure to become incorruptible without external intervention or mummification. Even those not yet enlightened but with strong mental power like Zhang Baosheng and Ho Shandui can perform miraculous feats like walking through walls, moving physical objects through solid barriers, and more. When Buddhism states the 3 realms are only mind, all phenomena are only consciousness, we should understand that the mind is the synthesis of the 4 fundamental forces of matter. The mind is an infinite energy source. Buddha proclaimed this long ago, which Einstein and many current scientists still do not understand. The universe is also an illusory structure, a daydream. It is an information field where consciousness can interact with infinite data from the Alaya Vijnana. Humanity shares collective karma, hence perceiving a similar universe. Different beings with different collective karma perceive the universe differently. When the mind is strong enough, it can manipulate, i.e., have superpowers to move mountains, fill seas, or create a different world. For instance, Amitabha Buddha created the Western Pure Land to guide those who sincerely wish to go there, a place with level ground, no high mountains or deep valleys, where beings are born from transformation rather than wounds and do not struggle daily for food like on Earth. We may consider this an illusory world. Indeed, but it is equal to Earth, which is also illusory and more corrupt with natural disasters, diseases, and wars that the other world lacks. Natural disasters are alarms that bad karma is manifesting, consequences of past unwholesome deeds. Why does the law of cause and effect exist? The law of cause and effect in karma is similar to the law of inertia in physics, entirely corresponding. When we create a force, a reaction force of equal magnitude but opposite direction appears. This is the principle of jet propulsion. In the invisible world, karma also operates according to the inertia principle in the visible world. When we create bad or good karma towards others or objects, a reaction karma affects us, which we call the law of cause and effect. A universal principle is symmetry. When there is an electron, there is a positron symmetrical to it. When there is visible matter, there is also dark matter. The symmetry principle creates contradictory pairs in any field, visible or invisible. Natural disasters have very deep origins, not as superficial as scientists explain. Thus, when two monks argue about whether the flag moves because of the wind or on its own, Hineng said, "It is neither the wind nor the flag that moves, it is your minds that move." This statement holds profound meaning. An individual may not have enough power to change the collective karma of hundreds of millions, but understanding this, one no longer blames heaven and earth or oneself and can calmly accept karma, knowing it is temporary and thus remain at peace. Solving natural disasters in this way also solves all other calamities similarly. Buddha taught that peace and happiness depend on oneself, on one's mental state, not on others or external things. Thus, Buddhism teaches patience and generally does not endorse violent measures. Historically, when Buddhism was destroyed and Buddhists were killed by Muslims in India, Buddhists did not seek revenge, knowing that those who sow the wind will reap the storm. The law of cause and effect will manifest, and the Muslims could not avoid retribution. Buddhist teachings inherently contribute to the peace and happiness of humanity, while science, despite providing many material benefits and conveniences, cannot be denied, but simultaneously brings much suffering and death, like chemical weapons, Agent Orange, and destructive weapons like atomic bombs, or conventional weapons like mines and bombs, killing countless people daily. Einstein regretted signing a letter to President Roosevelt suggesting the creation of an atomic bomb to fight fascism. Although he did not participate in the program, upon learning the bomb was developed, he wrote a second letter to President Truman, who succeeded Roosevelt after his death, urging not to use the bomb. But it was too late. 2 atomic bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, causing disaster for the Japanese. In conclusion, even purely scientifically, without considering the contributions to humanity, Einstein does not compare to Buddha. Einstein understood the world based on partial ignorance, while Buddha realized that mind and the universe are non-dual. Buddha transcended birth and death, deserving the title Tathagata, infinite light, infinite life, pervading space and time, beginningless and endless. Meanwhile, Einstein struggled unsuccessfully with the unified field theory. Thus, I choose Buddha as the greatest scientist of all time. For Buddha, the master scientist, Buddha is a term that refers to someone who is fully enlightened. Sakya Muni, also known as Siddhartha Gautama, attained enlightenment, hence we call him Buddha. Enlightenment means understanding all truths about the universe and human life. From this enlightenment, Buddha taught his disciples who recorded his teachings in the Sutras. The Sutras contain countless truths that, even after more than 25 centuries, remain fully relevant and undiminished by time. Today, as we study the Sutras meticulously, we discover that these truths closely align with and surprisingly match modern scientific knowledge. In this article, we will present an overview of some key points for readers to ponder. Buddha lived 6 centuries before Christ, while well-known scientists emerged only in the 18th century AD. Yet, during his time, Buddha perceived an innumerable number of worlds in the universe. In the Chinese Buddhist canon, there are phrases such as worlds as numerous as the sands of the Ganges and dust-mote worlds, implying countless worlds. Today, with the aid of telescopes, astronomers have seen an immense number of worlds in the cosmos. Numerous stars twinkle in the night sky, visible as planets, worlds, with countless other planets too distant for the naked eye to see. This serves as concrete evidence that science helps us understand Buddha's teachings from over 25 centuries ago. Moreover, once, while walking in a forest with the monks, Buddha saw fallen leaves, withering leaves about to fall, and fresh sprouts just emerging. He told the monks, "The world is decaying, about to decay and forming, just as the leaves in the forest are falling, about to fall, and budding, about to bud." Thus, Buddha often taught that the world undergoes 4 stages: formation, existence, decay, and emptiness. Modern scientists also acknowledge that the world goes through these 4 stages. This is a clear alignment between Buddhist philosophy and science, despite the vast time gap. All things in the world form and perish due to dependent origination, as seen through Buddha's wisdom. Dependent origination means that nothing forms without the gathering of various conditions. It is incorrect to say things form randomly or are created by a mystical hand. Buddha confirmed that all things form due to the gathering of conditions and perish when these conditions disperse. The formation and destruction of all things are due to conditions, a true perception of Buddha. Hence, in Buddhist scriptures, it is often taught, all phenomena arise due to conditions. They have no inherent substance, and they are impermanent. This aligns with the principles of no self and impermanence, frequently mentioned in the scriptures. Nothing is formed by a single cause, nor does anything arise suddenly without cause. Only when all conditions are met can something form. Thus, Buddha did not accept the theories of single cause or no cause. This reality is now clarified by science, leaving no room for doubt. Furthermore, we see countless things around us, and upon analysis, they all form due to the gathering of conditions. No thing forms on its own or is made by something else. This evident truth further illuminates Buddha's teachings. We see clearly that despite the time difference, there is no dividing line between Buddhism and science. When Buddha was alive, he saw numerous germs in a bowl of water. In the Chinese Buddhist canon, there is a phrase, Buddha observed 84,000 germs in a bowl of water. Today, with the help of microscopes, scientists see many germs in water. Moreover, Buddha saw countless germs within the human body. In the Chinese canon, it is mentioned, within the human body, there are countless germs residing. Today, with basic scientific knowledge, we no longer doubt this. If no deity arranges everything, how do things form, perish, and operate in a certain order? Buddhism explains, the force of karma drives and attracts things to form, and when karma is exhausted, they perish. The force of karma also makes things operate in a certain order. Karma is the force that draws conditions together to form things, and when the force of karma is exhausted, the conditions disperse, leading to the perishing of things. Karma has the ability to attract things to rotate within a certain orbit. Today, scientists explain the rotation and attraction of things in the universe, where planets of various sizes rotate in space within certain orbits. Even atoms rotate and bind tightly to form things. This rotating and attracting force is created by karma. Karma is a force that follows habitual tendencies and simultaneously resonates with similar things, thus attracting them. Because of the influence of karma, humans and all things form and operate within a certain range, and when karma is exhausted, humans and things perish accordingly. However, karma can be changed. It is not rigid or fixed because it is a dynamic force. Although the theory of karma and rebirth existed before Buddha, originating from the Vedic scriptures, Buddha, respecting the truth, adopted it and taught it to his disciples after verifying its accuracy. Buddha also modified the parts that deviated according to Brahmanical views, making the theory more complete. Therefore today, everyone acknowledges the theory of karma and rebirth as a Buddhist concept. Buddha's understanding aligns with the truth and remains relevant despite the long passage of time. Buddha did not use his profound understanding to analyze the external world or manipulate it to serve humans. He used his understanding to illuminate human beings, understanding them thoroughly both physically and mentally. Knowing humans well, Buddha taught how to live rightly and transform body and mind to achieve peace and happiness in the present and the future. Once, while walking in the Sima forest with the monks, Buddha picked up a handful of leaves and asked the monks, "Are the leaves in my hand more numerous, or the leaves in the forest?" The monks replied, "The leaves in your hand, world-honored one, are very few compared to the leaves in the forest." Buddha said, "Similarly, what I know is as abundant as the leaves in the forest, but what I teach you is as little as the leaves in my hand." This demonstrates that, even if something is true, if it is not essential for relieving human suffering and achieving happiness, Buddha would not teach it. Buddha taught only what was necessary to resolve human suffering because human life is too short, 60 to 70 years, to learn and understand everything in the world. The most important part of a human being is the mind. The mind controls the body, creating good or bad karma, experiencing suffering or joy in the present and future. Thus, all of Buddha's teachings emphasize inner transformation. When the inner self is pure, life becomes meaningful, and after death, a bright future awaits. This is the core of Buddha's teachings to relieve human suffering. Buddha attained enlightenment, becoming Buddha, and his lifelong teaching focused on enlightenment. A Buddhist practitioner who lacks enlightenment is not a true disciple of Buddhism. Suffering arises from ignorance, and to end suffering, one must eliminate ignorance. Only the light of enlightenment can dispel the darkness of ignorance. Without enlightenment, there is no way to dispel ignorance. Just as only light can eliminate darkness, there is nothing else that can remove darkness. Without eliminating ignorance, suffering cannot end. Therefore, the only way to relieve suffering is through enlightenment. This is why Buddhism emphasizes enlightenment. Through enlightenment, one can distinguish truth from falsehood, see clearly what binds and what frees, and choose a way of life that aligns with truth and freedom. True freedom does not come from external demands, but from conquering one's own base desires and subduing inner delusions. As Buddha said, conquering oneself is greater than conquering thousands in battle. True freedom in Buddhism is complete mastery over one's body and mind. This absolute freedom is the liberation taught by Buddha. Bringing joy and relieving suffering for all beings is the compassion of Buddhism. To help everyone end suffering and achieve happiness, Buddhist monks always hold up the torch of Dharma, inviting everyone to light their own torches and illuminate the dark house of their lives. The monks must conquer their own afflictions to serve as models and guide others in overcoming theirs. Countless sufferings arise from ignorance and afflictions. Lack of material wealth causes suffering, but even with an abundance of wealth, people still suffer. Therefore, wisdom is the precious jewel to exchange for wealth and success. Wisdom is the light that helps us avoid wrong paths. The more afflictions we eliminate, the more peace we attain. Complete elimination of afflictions leads to total freedom from suffering. After opening the eye of wisdom and eliminating afflictions, one achieves complete peace and freedom. Buddhist monks are dedicated to relieving human suffering by teaching wisdom and freedom. Buddhism sees all beings as equal in their inherent nature, differing only in their karma. Karma is transient and changing, while the inherent nature never changes. The transient differences are insignificant compared to the eternal nature. Therefore, Buddha taught, all beings have Buddha nature, emphasizing equality. Understanding this, we can overcome pride and refrain from looking down on anyone. This is the foundation of true morality. Bodhisattva, never despising, Satapara Buddha, saw everyone and said, I do not dare to despise you because you will become Buddhas. With Buddha nature inherent in everyone, anyone can achieve enlightenment through effort. This understanding eliminates discrimination and contempt. Buddhism is rooted in enlightenment, yields liberation, and is nurtured by compassion and equality. These four elements are essential for a truly civilized humanity. A genuine civilization requires clear wisdom, freedom, compassion that alleviates suffering, and equality that rejects discrimination based on class, religion, race, or color. Without these four elements, civilization remains incomplete. From this perspective, we see that Buddha indeed preceded scientists by far. No matter how advanced future civilizations become, they will find it challenging to surpass Buddhism.